Hello everybody, welcome to one, the new improved setup, and two, another mock draft. We have a whole new order this week. It should be very fun to look at some creative opportunities for different teams, and there'll be some deep player analysis, some fun different things that you guys can find during this mock draft that'll probably just be a little bit better and more in detail than most mock drafts you see. Hopefully you guys had some happy holidays, some good family time, everything like that. And if you guys didn't, I do apologize, I'm sorry, but I genuinely hope y'all had some had a good late December. Now I normally have a pre-done mock draft right here on my right monitor, and I don't. So today we're just going to totally wing it and kind of go through the process with you guys. And like I said, that's why it's going to be a little bit more in detail. And for the Carolina Panthers, obviously they suck at trading and lost their pick. So now it is the Bears at the number 1 overall pick. Well, the Panthers stick with Bryce Young and no first round pick, and a lot of that to be said. But the Chicago Bears are picking number 1 overall. I don't care if you guys love Justin Fields. I once got a comment saying he's a generational talent. I swear to God, I never want to see a comment like that ever again. And yeah, we're going Caleb Williams. Justin Fields, just not the guy. I can tell you that right now. Been the same thing for a couple of years now, where it's like, oh, next year he'll take that step. I don't think he's ever going to take that step. Justin Fields, great on the ground as a runner, might be a starter, maybe 1 or 2 more years in this league. But other than that, I don't know how. If you pass up on Caleb Williams, I don't know how you live with yourself, Justin Fields. Number 2 overall with the Arizona Cardinals, we could have some fun and just go Drake May, but with the way the draft is right now, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is still the pick. I don't trade in these mock drafts. I just don't think it'd be really ideal. You're getting what looks like a generational. I know that phrase is kind of thrown around, and I just mentioned it with Justin Fields, which is beyond disappointing. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just about as good as it's ever gotten out of college in recent years. At wide receiver, there's just nobody more complete, no better player. And Marvin Harrison Jr. for me at number 2 is worth the pick for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray and that offense that will work well, and you can work on defense the further on this draft goes. Maybe you address some things during free agency. Point is, you're just actually getting good value at number 2 for a wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. Commanders bench Sam Howell for Jacoby Brissett the last 2 weeks of the year. Now we get super fun and we go Drake May at number 3. This guy's a stud, best size in the class. He is best in system, I guess, inside of the regulations of a normal offense. You have Caleb Williams, who's taken number 1 overall. That is so good out of structure, but Drake May, excuse me, a very good player in structure and can make the right reads, go through them, tight window throws, arm talent, and can even have some versatility on the ground as well. Drake May, all around a great pick, and I think would replace Sam Howell just fine over there in the Commander system with Eric Bieniemy if he is still the offensive coordinator, if not the head coach. I have a theory as to why the Patriots are winning games now. Bill Belichick realizes he's probably not going to be the head coach there, so he's like, hey, I'm going to screw this franchise over as best as I can, win the most games, put them out of position for they don't get Drake May or Caleb Williams anymore. That's just not really in play unless they want to trade up, which they're a franchise notoriously known not to. Obviously things can change, especially with Bill Belichick, the GM. He's not very good at it. So I think that Drake May, Caleb Williams would be off at this point via either trade or the teams ahead. That being said, the next best player for them probably is Olu Fashanu. I'm not really going to think about it and just move on. Patriots getting a good tackle. I guess he's fun, but you know, you'd like to get a quarterback here, no doubt. You can't just say that, yeah, I'm fine with Olu Fashanu at 4 with Baker Mayfield at quarterback or Kirk Cousins or someone they find in free agency. It's not really what you're looking for at pick number 4. It's quite disappointing to be in this situation now. I have a sick feeling Jayden Daniels' name is going to be built so high by the time we actually get to the draft. He is going to be a top 10 pick. But does he go here at 5 to the Giants, or they take someone that would be a little bit more useful to him? I don't know if you could say that. Like, I know Danny Dimes has had his ups in the system that they're currently in right now with Brian Dable. Tommy DeVito doesn't really seem to be the answer. You've got Wan'Dale Robinson working out kind of well for you right now. Offensive line stinks, especially on that Evan Neal side of the tackle. Right tackle probably could be a little bit better. Maybe you target for interior offense later, but I don't know if you want to take at number 5 if you want to reach on a quarterback. I don't think that there's anybody else in play here but Jayden Daniels, but for me it's going to be Malik Neighbors off the board. He'd be wide receiver 1 if it wasn't for Marvin Harrison Jr. and in a bunch of other classes I'm sure Malik Neighbors would be at that wide receiver 1 spot, but unfortunately he does have Marvin Harrison Jr. in this class ahead of him, and like I said, he's super good, and I don't see why not. Why don't you take him here at number 5? and work with either Danny Dimes for another year. Maybe you suck another year, you go grab a quarterback in the next draft. I just don't know if you're going to take the ultimate reach on Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. I've loved this fit from the start, and the Chargers have climbed up the draft order quite a bit. And they're going to get Brock Bowers at number 6. I like the pick. I like the player. I like the fit. I like everything about it. Brock Bowers is a very good player, very stout, very athletic. He's actually kind of smaller for a tight end. It is whatever. He plays really well, blocks really well, catches the ball really well. He's just a really good player. And at number 6, you're going to get someone that complements Justin Herbert and that receiving core a hell of a lot better than, I'm not going to say Gerald Everett. I'm just going to say Brock Bowers is an all-around better tight end than Gerald Everett was. Everett's probably hitting free agency anyways. Brock Bowers comes in and fills a big role that is also a need for this offense in Justin Herbert. Now, I could see the want here for Joe Alt or anybody else here at the spot, maybe Jerzon Newton if you really want to reach him or you really like him. I just don't think that Joe Alt, I mean, what are you going to do? Move Joe Alt to right tackle or move Rashawn Slater to right tackle? I just don't think that would be where they are best effective. And I like the value of Brock Bowers even here at 6. And here at 7, we were just talking about him, Joe Alt. Off the board of the Tennessee Titans just makes most sense for them. They get a new left tackle replacing either Andre Dillard. I think it is Andre Dillard on the left side and then Jalen Duncan on the right. If you still want to, look for tackles in free agency, all that good stuff, Joe Alt would just be still a huge addition no matter what the offseason looks like for him. This seems like the perfect trade down spot. Like if I've ever seen one, Chicago should definitely try to trade out in this pick in real life. But if you're not, obviously Jerzon Newton has been a good story this year. He is a little undersized though. I don't know if you really want to go in that direction. He is perhaps a bust prospect or like a boomer bust, but like there is still a chance he busts. Leatu Latu is edge 1 consensus for a lot of people you talk to. This would be the highest I would have taken him, but it is between these two for me. Rome is not that high to me as other people are on him. These 3 are still in play, but I would prefer D-line. Montez Sweat has been so good. We're going to pair him up with Leatu Latu here on the opposite edge of Montez Sweat. Jerzon Newton, I can't stomach taking him at number 8. It just doesn't really make the best of sense that I've if I were to take him somewhere inside the top 10, I don't think I'd do it to the Bears. I don't think I would do it even I would wait for that 9th or 10th spot to take Jerzon. I just don't think he's that good. I don't know. It's just, I haven't really watched him yet. I just don't think that a 295-pound interior defensive lineman that's shown glimpses of being a powerful human being. I just don't think that. I think the level's elevated at the NFL level too much for him to be worthy of a top 10 pick, especially at number 8 to a team that can't really afford to miss. Now, this Jets team has two very apparent needs in tackle and wide receiver, and even Jerzon Newton's in play here. I think I would look for Talise Fuaga to go play right tackle. The thing is, he's not really a pass pro specialist. He's more a mauler in that run game. So maybe you would like to, run towards him, play action towards him, move out left where you have an athletic Mekhi Becton if he gets re-signed long-term, or even just for the next year or two. Whatever it is, you need tackle, you need wide receiver, and you could take interior defensive line so you're not working with veteran guys like Solomon Thomas back there. There's a few other names you could throw in. Maybe even John Franklin Myers rotates inside every here and there. But for me, Alabama pedigree. I like the player. He's better for the Jets. People might, want someone else, but for me it's JC Latham here. It just makes the most sense. It's an overdraft, but it's a position of need, and that doesn't warrant an overdraft. But if you like a tackle like JC Latham, I could see these tackles being in play. Talise Fuaga, JC Latham, and Amarius Mims. Kind of who do you have at the top of your board? And if you have a top 10 grade on one of these players and they are still available at 9, I'm sure you'd be just fine taking them there. And if not, maybe you do look for a Rome Odunze or a Jerzon Newton at this spot, or another trade down spot where you do trade down to a spot where you would be comfortable taking one of those tackles, hoping they all don't fall off the board in front of you. Now we move to a very fun team in the Atlanta Falcons, where they need not a lot of everything. They just need like different people spread across their team for sure. If Arthur Smith stays here, it's probably not the best spot for him to go, but Jaden Daniels is the pick here, and man, you could have some fun with this offense in the way that Bijan would work out for you really well on the other side of Jaden Daniels or behind, or wherever sure these two would combine really well between Jayden Daniels, Bijan Robinson, and you have big targets like Drake London in case Jayden Daniels finds himself in trouble, or someone that's as savvy as Kyle Pitts through the middle of the field. There's a lot of places you can go, and Jayden Daniels for me at quarterback at number 10 to the Falcons is a very, very, very fun, good pick in my eyes. I could see Jayden Daniels being an instant playmaker for this team. Maybe not the highest, maybe he doesn't achieve his ceiling right away, and maybe he's not the best quarterback right away. His floor is good because of the way he runs the ball, and his ceiling is tremendous. Sorry, my freaking hair was being the most annoying POS ever, so put a headband on. And here we are with the Saints pick at number 11. They're in a good spot to do multiple different things. If you want to take the quarterback of the future here, there is Bo Nix, who I am higher on than seems like the general consensus. JJ McCarthy's really far down here on the PFF board. I could still see him going in the first round. He has some high praise around some high named people. Trevor Sikkema, who does this PFF, big board, obviously doesn't have his eye on JJ McCarthy as a first round pick, something like that. So we're seeing with the Saints a trend, right? They're trending downwards. They aren't the best as the season goes on. It only looks like their quarterback position gets worse and worse. But you can't really move on from Derek Carr due to his contract, so you'd have to sit him for a year, or you grab a rookie quarterback, you play him under Derek Carr for Derek Carr's last year, and then either he retires, void year, whatever, in that contract that allows you to play the quarterback after he sits for a year. It gets really confusing because of that contract. People are going to say, hey, this is a no-brainer quarterback spot, please take a quarterback. There are definitely better ways to improve a team than just taking the quarterback. I think you can see tremendous guys like both Jerzon Newton, Rome Odunze very well in play here. But like I mentioned, there's guys earlier like Talise Fuaga who would give Alvin Kamara a great guy to run behind. Amarius Mims, who could develop to be one of the best tackles in this class. For me here, it's Jerzon Newton, no question. I just went and looked at their depth chart. They got guys like Nathan Shepard and Colin Sanders, who's playing fullback for them, actually. They're playing interior. Obviously, you have Brian Brzee, who's on the rise. He's been very good as of late. He plays, interior D-line. And if you pair him with a guy like Jerzon Newton, both powerhouses that can move guys on the inside, make the playmakers on the outside, make plays, give them opportunities, take a double team or two, and just have some fun with that D-line and shuffle it around. And like I said, it would just create opportunities for one another. Jerzon Newton is the pick for me at number 11. And moving on to my favorite team, at number 12, the Green Bay Packers, where we can go plenty of different ways here. When I watch the Packers, I notice the defense. The defense always stands out to me as the thing that sucks. And sure, there are some offensive glimpses where you're like, what the hell is happening? And you want to fire Matt LaFleur, but a lot of that is with play design, play calling, and stuff like that. So it's not really have to do with personnel. But Rasheed Walker playing at left tackle probably isn't the best way to go. I think both these guys are right tackles, so I think we'll just stay away from tackle, rule that out, because we'll have Zach Tom, who's playing fairly well on the right side, and then David Bakhtiari back next year. Hopefully, he doesn't get hurt, and probably won't make it through a full season, but you know that, and you have time to develop Rasheed Walker and get some poise in there instead of him just being a total mess at left tackle. Could go Rome Odunze. We really don't have a guy like Rome on roster. The closest we have is Romeo Dobbs. And sure, it's not even close to the same, but the closest guy we have to is just a jump ball receiver with good focus and good back shoulder and understanding catch point adjustment is Rome Odunze. Romeo Dobbs. I suck at this. At corner, we're taking Nate Wiggins. Jair Alexander's even suspended right now, but he's hurt sometimes, most of the time. Eric Stokes, hurt sometimes, a lot of the time. And Keyshawn Nixon is playing nickelback for us right now. He's a boomer bust on the field where he either makes a big play, big hit, forced fumble, pass breakup, or he allows a 70-yard touchdown, just misses on a guy. It's so annoying watching Keyshawn Nixon. He's a great returner. I just don't think he's really cut out to play nickelback consistently. He can come in some packages, maybe a double nickel. I don't know. But Nate Wiggins is a pick for me here to play the boundary. Maybe you shift Eric Stokes inside, but I don't think you can do that. I just think that we've had some liabilities in our corner room, and there's plenty of different ways you can go. Anthony Johnson, the safety, can come down and play nickelback. He's a big hitting safety that's got some attitude to him. He's played nickel in his past, and I think even this year with the Packers. Just a bunch of different things you could do if you allow Nate Wiggins to play the boundary for the Packers. I like the player. I like the intangibles with him, mostly with his size and athleticism. And we'll move to number 13 with the Las Vegas Raiders. To me, this is a quarterback landing spot. Aiden O'Connell looks good, sure. For how much longer, I don't know. They bring Bo Hardigree in, the new offensive coordinator. He schemed up some good things for him. If he stays with Antonio Pierce and that team, then sure, you might actually opt towards Aiden O'Connell over developing a new guy. If it's someone else, you're going to have to take Bo Nix here, or, even JJ McCarthy. I did that in a recent mock draft. Bo Nix, for me, could come in and be what Aiden O'Connell is already, and then just be better everywhere else. Bo Nix can run that offense better than Aiden O'Connell, better than a lot of other people you could ask in free agency, and Bo Nix could come in and with a guy like Bo Hardigree, if he stays, I like that fit. If that ends up not happening, they let go of Antonio Pierce, Bo Hardigree might actually get a coordinator job somewhere else, and then we'd see a new system come in, and they might want to take Bo Nix with the new regime, whatever it ends up being. Anyways, you're getting Bo Nix. It's a great pick. He's a good quarterback, and trust me when I say he can do everything Aiden O'Connell can and better. That Aiden O'Connell, if he struggles in an area, I guarantee you Bo Nix is probably a little bit better in that area. All I'm saying is if you're a Raiders fan and you want to ride with Aiden O'Connell, you're dumb. Bo Nix is better. Moving on to number 14, Broncos. Up here, another AFC West team, Bo Nix, and then what are we going to do at 14? Who gets picked after Bo Nix for the Raiders to a division rival to the Broncos? This could go plenty of other ways, and maybe you think about Bo Nix here. I do like corner to this team a lot more than this, but I'm going to go Rome Odunze. The fall of Rome ends, and here goes Rome Odunze off the board at number 14 to the Broncos. A wide receiver needy team. I guarantee you Russell Wilson comes back and is the starter there next year due to his contract. I know he's currently sitting for the last 2 games, so he doesn't get those contract guarantees taken away from the salary cap to build the team this upcoming offseason. I'm sure Russell Wilson is even somewhat okay with that, and it's just the right business decision. So we'll see Jarrett Stidham the last 2 weeks of the season, and then Rome Odunze would come in the following season to help out this team the best he can. And like I said, I prefer corner here. Like Kool-Aid McKinstry would be quite fun, but Rome Odunze is a definite possibility over Kool-Aid McKinstry. Talk about a need at corner. Give me Kool-Aid McKinstry here, not even thinking about it, just moving on. Minnesota, like Alante Evans, Byron Murphy's had some very bad play at times this year. There's guys down the board. Andrew Booth hasn't really panned out as the guy you'd hope at this point. Maybe he develops over the offseason and can play on the other side of Kool-Aid. There's other guys to mention in that room. I think Mekhi Blackmon was out of this last draft class, went kind of later, and he's played fine. I don't know how well or how sustainable you want to, I don't know how much you would rather have him than Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is a cool, collected corner out of Alabama that you can just take at 15, plug and play, and be very happy with. And this is DN for me all the way. I just went and looked in their depth chart, and there's no way I can, turn a blind eye to it. Dallas Turner might be the pick for some people here, but Jared Verse is the pick for me. He's going to be a game wrecker right as he comes into the league in my eyes. Maybe not to the extent of Will Anderson and how well he's played right away, but I'd say that his floor is higher than Dallas Turner's. I think he'd be off to a better start than Dallas Turner in his career, and it's harder to miss on Jared Verse than it is on Dallas Turner. And Chop Robinson is not going to be in the realm for me as these two guys. He's not even going to be in the same tier or touching the same tier as Dallas Turner and Jared Verse. Who knows? By the end of the process, I think Dallas Turner might jump Jared Verse for me, but for right now, this situation, this pick, and this spot here at 16 for the Cardinals, Jared Verse is the pick. Now, the Steelers, a very interesting, fun, different team here. They're playing with literal plumbers at linebacker and some other guys, some mailmen at safety. Minkah Fitzpatrick was hurt while DeMonte KZ was suspended, and that's why we saw such bad safety play. Then they brought in Miles Jack off the couch out of retirement. I don't know why you don't just either try to move like Nick Herbig up and out, play some inside linebacker. It would be very tough and a different transition for him. I don't know. There's different things you could do if you're the Steelers here, right? But for me, personally, I like corner for him, and I'm going to actually look for one. And you know what I was just saying? It was that they needed a DB. They needed whether someone could come up, play safety for him. Minka Fitzpatrick has been quite inconsistent when it comes to injury. He's been hurt on and off. Demonte KZ isn't even like the best player overall, but they're going to miss him on the backside. And then he can come and play corner wherever, whenever you need him to. He's just an all-around DB. I don't even have him labeled as a corner. I think he's a defensive back. Play wherever. He's super fun, big physical player when he needs to, pretty good athlete. Cooper DeJean is the pick for me at 17. I like that fit with the Steelers and something I don't think I've done this year. And this pick was just made for me. Talise Fuaga is still here at 18 to the Bengals. It's just what's going to happen. Either it's him or Amarius Mims, and I think I'd prefer Talise Fuaga, especially for this team. Very fun player, very good, and solid play right away, especially in the run game, like I mentioned. Might struggle in pass pro early, but that's fine. That's just fine. And at number 19, we'll move to the Buccaneers pick, where I probably don't even have to think about this one. Okay, so I did actually have to end up thinking about this one a little bit. Shaq Barrett and Yaya Diaby are like the edge rushers over there, alongside Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who's minimized to a role player at this point. Yaya Diaby's been playing really well. I think he's a starter for you next year. And then Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka kind of rotating back and forth every here and there. It's fine, but Dallas Turner, definitely an upgrade. You look even further into this team, you look at wide receiver, and you say, well, there's Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and Mike Evans might actually be gone. Chris Godwin hasn't been as healthy as you'd like this year to get the full sample size of him, so I don't know, you could shake that up there and go with like a Brian Thomas at this spot. I don't think Tez Walker would be what you need, but maybe if you lose Mike Evans, you want Tez Walker. I think Brian Thomas is a little bit better in my eyes. I like Brian Thomas a lot better, I should say. And especially for this team, I like him a lot better. And it would just be a better fit overall. You could look to get a developmental tackle to play on the other side of Tristan Wirfs, who's played actually the left side this year. And right tackle, he's been one of the best in the league since he got drafted. And that you could look into as well. But for me, at this spot, Dallas Turner, probably just the best overall look here. It's between him and Brian Thomas. And look, the needs don't even have quarterback anymore, but I'm going Dallas Turner. It's just something I wanted to point out was that Baker is the consensus guy there now, I guess. Perfect passer rating in Lambeau, which moving on to the Colts at number 20. I'm going to go a lot of different directions here for the Colts. So for me here, there's a few different ways to go between Terrion Arnold at corner, Chop Robinson at defensive end, maybe Amarius Mims when you want to start moving on from guys like Braden Smith and just other guys that are getting older on that line. You could look to transition out. Brian Thomas probably not in play. I love Alec Pierce, and he's like the same player as Brian Thomas. Maybe Brian Thomas a little bit more polished and versatile, other than Alec Pierce just being like a deep field threat or like a downfield threat. At this spot for me, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm going Terrion Arnold. I'm sorry. Defensive end's probably the better pick. I just think that better. I don't like Chop Robinson. I think better player, Terrion Arnold. Back-to-back Alabama picks, by the way. Dallas Turner, Terrion Arnold. I think Terrion Arnold will just come in and just be better as a player right away, better as like everything regardless. I don't think Chop Robinson's gonna do or translate really well to the NFL. He wins with athleticism, and that's pretty much it. You could look down the board if you really love Jonah Ellis. I know he's gonna move up some boards here late in the process. Braylon Trice is super fun, and I actually like him a lot, but he's got a lower ceiling and higher floor, and that typically doesn't win you a first round pick, but definitely someone if they like enough. And hey, he's perfect in that role. We could take him here. Braylon Trice for me. I think you're winning just fine with Samson Ebukam and Deo Adeyingbo or whatever his name is. You can do plenty. You can go so many different ways here. But for me, Terrion Arnold, I know people probably won't like this, and you could probably even go safety in the second or third, maybe fourth round, because Julian Blackmon just got hurt. You're working with Rodney Thomas up there already. Nick Cross hasn't been the player you want him to be since he's come out. So I don't know when or where you want to pick, but if you're the Colts, you probably want to pick either bottom end, like hopefully you make a playoff run, or you just start losing and you only go up the draft order. It's such a tough spot to pick here given the players you have available. It's a tough one to pick, and at number 20 I took Terrion Arnold. And the constant feedback I get for Seattle Seahawks pick is interior offensive line. Who cares if they take an edge, all that good stuff. But the thing is, if you're going to take Chop Robinson, you're going to need time to develop him before he probably even sees the field. Chop Robinson on a consistent basis. I mean, sees the field on a consistent basis. I think Chop Robinson is a total developmental piece. I don't think that he is as good to be cut out. I don't, like I said, I don't think his game will translate that well. And you can look at Brian Thomas, because Tyler Lockett's getting old. DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba are really good. Jake Bobo's a good fourth. And then you can look elsewhere. Or you can look at the interior defensive line and look at Leonard Taylor. So many different ways you can go here. But I actually had a different idea. I think it's between Graham Barton and Troy Fountainow, but I'm going to go Fountainow here. He's such a talented offensive lineman. I've heard some great things about him. I haven't watched a whole lot of him specifically, but watching that Washington team, and the tackles hold up so well, and he plays tackle there, but he slates to be a better interior offensive line, perhaps switching into right or left guard, possibly could even play center for you, but it just profiles better as a guard at the next level, and that seems to be where his projection will be. But he plays tackle currently at Washington, holds up really well for Michael Penix over there, and he's so talented and is such a need for this team that I'm actually going to jump and take the... It's such a bullet if it doesn't work out. Oh, who takes guard that early? Like, all that good stuff, right? If you want to, like, scold this pick, I don't know what to do for you guys in the future then, but I'm trying to make Seattle fans happy, taking Troy Fountainow and really talented offensive lineman. So here it's between probably Brian Thomas, Leonard Taylor, Amarius Mims, and any other player. There's some holes here and there for this team. I like the Jags receiving core. I think Parker Washington can develop well. Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk still there. Kirk and Parker, similar type players, so you might want someone more on the outside like Brian Thomas or Devontae Walker, or Tez Walker, as he's been called before. You can look up and down this draft board, and Amarius Mims is still here, which is very enticing. Corner's a need for him. I'm not real familiar with Ennis Rakestraw. He does seem to be a good player and maybe a late guy that declares. And that's why he's made it to the draft simulator now. And then I'd start thinking about Leonard Taylor to play on the other side of whoever's there. Foloranu Fatukasi has played fine. Devon Hamilton doesn't he doesn't see the field. Like, he doesn't see the field. He's just like rotational at best right now. I don't know what's going on with him. I haven't really stayed up with that. So Leonard Taylor's probably like what I'm leaning towards, considering I did take Brian Thomas last time, and Amarius Mims would have to go either flip to left tackle, or you just have to flip Anton Harrison to left tackle. Either or is still a feasible situation. I'm going Leonard Taylor here. I don't know. Just something about it just feels right. Give me Leonard Taylor. It's really early for him. Really early for him. But at number 23, it was where we'll pick next up. But yeah, Leonard Taylor, good player on the interior defensive line to help out the Jags. Amarius Mims just continues to fall along with some of these guys as well. Devontae Walker not really falling yet. Braylon Trice, I think he's a late first, like really late first, like 26 and beyond type of pick. Chop, I don't think you can afford to miss if you're the Rams here. And you guys have actually hit. If you're the Rams, you've hit on D-line. Byron Young has been fine, let alone great for a rookie. Kobe Turner's been amazing and super fun as a story out of Wake Forest, the interior player playing alongside Aaron Donald. I think that you've done a good job there. You could look to replace some linebackers later in this draft, get some different guys up and down, but you're not going to find an Amarius Mims type of guy. Now, you can miss on him, but there's no saying that he's like... I think that Chop Robinson's a bigger hit or miss than Amarius Mims. I'm going to take Amarius Mims here. He's played at a high level against some good competition. He is a massive human being. He's a big-ass mold of clay. That's how you can kind of put Amarius Mims into perspective. Move Rob Havenstein to the left side. Move Amarius Mims to the left side. Like I said earlier with the Jags, they're both feasible situations. You can do either or, and it still would work out and has a very high chance at working out for you at a very good level. Amarius Mims is a good player and falls to 23. I normally have tackle pretty much gone and depleted by now. Moving on to the Bills pick at 24. This is best player available for me, and Chop Robinson's here. It's very tempting. AJ Epinesa has evolved into a good player this year all of a sudden. Greg Rousseau's been fine. Von Miller, how long is he going to be here or a viable option in the NFL? Don't know. Chop Robinson's enticing. Devontae Walker's enticing. He's different than any receiver they have on a roster. Gabe Davis, similar, but not the same at all. And, well, I guess they are kind of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Multiple different routes you can go here for the Bills. I don't know. It's so tough. There's so much I want to do, and there's not enough like value at anything that I want to do to the point where it makes it like a really easy decision. I don't like the guys at corner, so I'm going Chop here. And like I said, if you're going to take him, he needs to be in a very small sample size rotation sort of deal. I don't think he's going to win right away. And the only way he does win is athleticism. You need to develop him. You need to put some people on him. All right. I don't care if you have to hire 2 extra people or just even work with a guy like Von Miller or AJ Epinesa. How did AJ Epinesa take that jump? What did he develop in his game that made him so much better? What can you do to Chop Robinson to help him out that way? He's going to come in. He's going to be a bit more raw. He hasn't really put up the production in college. He's not really been the game wrecker. He just wins with athleticism. He's got a very high win rate, and the tackles he's struggled against have been typically better than the ones he's won against. He hasn't been amazing against higher touted talent, nor does he face higher touted talent that often. And when he does, like I said, it hasn't been as impressive. Chop Robinson's the pick for me at 24. I know I'm looking at a lot of downside to him, but he's a crazy twitched up athlete that has a very high ceiling if he can figure things out. Chop Robinson, lots to be talked about here at 24. Fallen a long way down the board. I've had him deep in the class, the whole time, basically. I don't think I've ever had him like inside the top 10. He hasn't fallen this far for me, and I don't think it's really, I think this is like the consensus spot for him right now. Easiest pick of all time is Brian Thomas to the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe Leonard Taylor's in consideration here if he falls to you. Maybe someone else if you like him in the receiving room. If you want to go with a Tez Walker or a Troy Franklin type of player, you can. Or, anybody else. Pick your poison. There's plenty of viable options at this spot. I can see Emeka Egbuka, who might actually end up going back to school. But Brian Thomas is the pick for me here. One of my favorite players, one of my biggest risers in this class. I can't believe he's even getting taken at 25. I will find a way to make him go off the board earlier than this in future mocks. I just love the player. Super, super fun to watch. His tape is amazing. Gets downfield, lickety split. It's just super Patrick Mahomes friendly and fits and profiles separately from Rashee Rice, but they're similar sizes. But Brian Thomas is much more of an athlete on one side, Rashee Rice on the other, and then rotate your inside guy. Maybe take a guy down the board that impressed you that you can rotate with a Marquez Valdes-Scantling or other people. I mean, Jermaine Burton, what a hell of a slot receiver he could be at the next level. There's just so many viable options for the Chiefs if you take Brian Thomas here, and it just gives you some flexibility later and on the field next year. I think linebacker and corner are your biggest needs on defense other than an edge rusher, and like I've said before, I just love Braylon Trice. I can't get over my obsession of Braylon Trice, and I do think he ends up being, I said he might go 26 and later, early second, late first type of guy. Braylon Trice, I just love. All right, go look at anything you read on him. High effort, high motor player, won't give up. Good player all around, knows how to get to the quarterback, wins with good power, can play like 3-tech to out wide. He's a very fun, different player than a lot of other guys in this class, making him a very viable pick here at 26. To me, could even go earlier. The professionals don't really see him as highly as I do, which is fine. I'm going to stick to my gut here and still put him in the first round. I'm just going to drop him a little bit further than where I would want to take him because he's very fun and a good player in my opinion, and I can see that going a bit higher than this. For now, Braylon Trice is number 26 overall to the Cowgirls. Dorrance Armstrong, Sam Williams, Micah Parsons switches in and out to different areas, and then obviously DeMarcus Lawrence has been very good for his time being. He's getting to that age now where he's becoming more of a mentor than a complete edge setter. I don't think he's quite that player. So if you can add Braylon Trice, maybe you lose Sam Williams or Dorrance Armstrong in the next year or two to free agency, it's not a big deal. You still have Braylon Trice who could actually emerge as an every down player, and I just love that floor on him, I should say. Braylon Trice, very fun, like I've mentioned before, and fits well with this edge group with the Dallas Cowgirls. Then now we'll move to the Texans pick, which Cleveland actually wasn't looking so bad earlier on in the year, or was actually looking, the pick wasn't looking so bad. Like they were picking in the middle of the draft, but now they're a 10-win team and sitting here at 27. Texans kind of didn't really luck out on that one, I guess. I'm just sat here looking at the Texans depth chart and look at how many questionable players they have. It's actually ridiculous. All right, right here I'm going Graham Barton, Juice Scruggs. Like, they've had so many unfortunate injuries to the interior, but even other than that, excusing that, it's going to be Graham Barton for me. He's going to come in, he's going to play interior. He's another guy like Troy Fountain now, where he profiles better on the interior and he's just played really well at Duke at tackle, and just profiles better to be a guard or a center. So he can come in and do either of those things for you, even switch out and play tackle if you need that help. Like if Titus Howard gets hurt again, I'm sure Graham Barton could figure it out at tackle and be an okay replacement for him, especially with more time in the league. Now, edge is just such a need for the Lions. They need someone on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. And honestly, I love Jonah Ellis, but to be fair, I don't think he's a first-round pick. Do I dare take him here? I'm definitely thinking about it. They need help elsewhere. Like, corner is a very much a need for him. I could see like a Quinyon Mitchell here, someone different than who they have. They just need anything at corner, so I'll think about that too. Yep, all right, I'm doing it. I convinced myself. We're going Quinyon Mitchell, 28, Toledo corners. Just been so good at Toledo and just profiles really well. Okay athlete with great size. It just everything works out. Now, this sucks if you're the Dolphins. They took Troy Fountain out and Graham Barton ahead. So there's 27 and 21 are both picks that this team probably would like to have the option to at least take. Best case scenario, it's corner here, and I'm just going to take Ennis Rakestraw. Listen, do your research about him. I don't know much about him. I'll continue to learn about him as time goes on, but until then, Ennis Rakestraw is a player for the Dolphins now. At number 29, they pick him there. Now here we are at 30, and I need someone that could stretch the field alongside the other people that is on that team. Devontae Walker's like a hybrid between Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, but if you're looking for a new dimension of offense, you're going to look for like a Lad McConkey, who's like a savvy slot receiver. I love Emeka Egbuka. I just really think he's going back to school, so I'm going to try to exclude him from this situation here, this mock draft. And Troy Franklin's here, great speed, athleticism, actually rated quite highly for me early on in this process as we start to evaluate a bit more. Yeah, I'm going Troy Franklin. He's actually seen some slot reps at Oregon, not as many, but that's probably where he'd ultimately end up playing at, Philadelphia, or in Philadelphia, and moving on to number 31 with the 49ers. They'll look to make a good pick here, but yeah, Troy Franklin, the number 30 overall pick in this draft. Now, I watched the San Francisco 49ers every dang week, and they need corner. I don't care if it's Kamari Lassiter at this spot or TJ Tampa. Tampa is more of a toolsy, high upside guy. Kamari Lassiter does have some upside, but I just like the player. But I don't know. I don't know what to do here. It's actually just between these two. Yeah, I'm going TJ Tampa here. He just wiggles his way into the first round for me, I guess. And then at number 32, what am I going to do? I don't know, but let's talk a little bit more about TJ Tampa. Good size, good speed, good athleticism, good everything. Plays with good instincts every here and there. Just has a lot of missed opportunities, missed coverages, and blown coverages. A quite inconsistent player. But TJ Tampa gets fun. Like I said, go read about him, especially if you want to look at NFLDraftBuzz.com. Go over there. There's like complete draft profiles on most of these guys, and TJ Tampa has a really intriguing and highly touted one. But once I started hearing more about the negatives, that's kind of when he gets pushed down. I can see why he's rated kind of lower. But I ultimately end up thinking he's either an early second or late first round pick in this draft. I love TJ Tampa and what he brings to the table. Give me him at 31, and we'll move to number 32 with the not the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, I just can't look past corner on this team. I was like, yeah, I can really go Tez Walker here, but no, it's Kamari Lassiter. So here's a little mock draft wrap up. I'm sure you guys can make the names out behind my face cam here, and I'll scroll down in just a minute to show you guys the last pick, but really take this in in case you guys are curious what I'm thinking for this upcoming draft process. I do like, we'll keep talking about Kamari Lassiter since we really didn't. He's just a fun player, really good and solid, and like another guy that's an instinctual guy, just not as much size on him, might even weigh in lower than 6 foot when he gets to the combine. Teams really like to juice that up there. So Kamari Lassiter, the pick for me at number 32. And that'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and like, go down, subscribe, go watch the past content on my channel. That'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching again. Deuces.